Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम मैम।
वालेकुम सलाम मैम।
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। Quote of the day: whoever fears Allah, Allah will find a way out for him from every difficulty, and He will provide for him from source that he could never have imagined. Today, the topic of presentation is quantitative research. I am Dr. Rabbia Iqbal, PGR Community Medicine. I am presenting under the supervision of Professor Dr. Saira Afzal, IPH Lahore. Learning objectives of today's presentation are introduction and definition of quantitative research, type of quantitative research, research design, data collection methods, statistical analysis, validity and reliability, reporting and ethics. First of all, introduction and definition. So, what is quantitative research? A systematic investigation that collects and analyzes numerical data to identify patterns, test hypotheses, and draw conclusions using statistical methods. Objective: to minimize subjectivity, findings are replicable. Numerical data, data expressed in number and measured quantities. Statistical analysis uses mathematical tool to analyze data. Generalizability: result can be applied to a larger population. Structure: follow a rigid pre-planned structure design. Deductive: test hypotheses and theories and hypotheses. Next is the quantitative and qualitative research. Quantitative research deal with the numbers and statistics, test hypotheses and theories, large sample size required, structured data collection instruments. Results are generalizable, objectives, and replicable. For example, experiments and survey. Qualitative research deal with the words, meaning, and experience, generate hypotheses and theory, small, pervasive, small size, flexible, open-ended data collection, context-specific funding, interpretative, and subjective. For example, interviews and ethnography. Next is the final criteria for the research question. A good research question must satisfy the final criteria. F for feasible, adequate subject, technical expertise, time and resource available. I for interesting, of interest to researcher. N for novel, confirm, suit or extend previous finding. E for ethical, acceptable to the institutional review board, does not harm the participant. R for relevant, advanced scientific knowledge influence the clinical practice and policy. Next is the PICO framework. PICO is the standard framework for formulating research question and facilitating literature review. P population, in which we see who is the study about, target population, patient group or community being studied. I for intervention, what is being done, exposure, test, treatment or risk factor under the investigation. C comparison, compared to what control group, placebo, alternative treatment or standard care. O for outcome, what is measured, health outcome, clinical endpoint or effect being assessed. For example, among the diabetic patient, does metformin compared to lifestyle modification reduce HbA1c level? So, diabetic patient is the population, metformin is the intervention, and comparison with the lifestyle modification is and the C, and reduce and to see the reduction in the HbA1c level is the outcome. Next is the literature search strategy. So key database and gray literature sources are PubMed, Embase, Global Index Medicus, Park Medinate, Cochrane Library, Global Health, Google Scholar, Gray Literature. Next is the types of quantitative research. First one is a descriptive research, describe the characteristic of the population and the phenomena without manipulating the variables. So the purpose of descriptive is to describe what is the current state, frequency or characteristic of a variable or a group. For example, measuring the average exam score of the grade 10 in the district. So methods are survey, observational study, census data, structured questionnaire. Output can be measured by frequency table, means, percentage, chart, and graphs. Limitations cannot establish causality. Only describe, does not explain. Uses student achievement profile demographic analysis of the school performance. Type two, second type is the correlational study. Exams the relation association between two or more variable without manipulation. Types of correlation are positive correlation, both variable increase together. Negative correlation in which one variable increase and the other decrease. Zero correlation, no relationship exists between two variables. It's an R range from one, which is a perfect negative, to positive one, which is perfect positive. Key points include correlation is not equal to the causation. Coefficient of determination indicate variance explains. Spurious correlation occur due to confounding variable. Statistical tests are Pearson, Sperman, and Candlestone. Third type is experimental research, the two research, the gold standard of the quantitative research, establish cause and effect relationship, in which there are two groups, control group and experimental group. Control group does not receive the treatment or the intervention, serve as a baseline for the comparison, essential for isolating the effect of independent variable. Participant randomly assigned. Experimental group does not receive the treatment or the intervention, does receive the treatment and intervention exposed to the independent variable change measured against the control group, participant randomly assigned. So the three essential components are random assignment, manipulation of independent variable, and control of exogenous variable. Fourth one is the quasi-experimental research, which is similar to the true experiment but like full random assignment, but practical in educational setting. So why quasi-experimental? Random assignment often impossible in the school. School cannot randomly assign student to the class purely for the research purpose. Common designs, retest or the post-test with a comparison group, interpret time series, regression, discontinuity design, non-equivalent group. Threat to validity, selection bias, history effect, maturation, and regression to mean. Application, evaluating new curriculum effectiveness, comparing teaching method across the school. Next is the research design. So, first one is the identifying the problem. Does the research problem context and a need? Literature review existing studies and identify the gap. Then frame the objective, set smart research objective and questions, and formulate the hypothesis, state null and alternative hypothesis, and then select the study design, choose the research type and methodology. Sampling, define population and select the sampling strategy. Instruments, develop or adopt a data collection tool, and then collection of data by administrator of instrument systematically, and then analyzation of the data, applying statistical analysis technique, and report result, interpret, conclude, and disseminate. Next is the understanding the variables in the quantitative research. Independent variables, these are the manipulated or the selected by the researcher. The presumed cause, for example, teaching method, intervention program, socioeconomic status. Dependent variable, the outcome or the effect being measured, change as a result of independent variable. Example, test score, graduation rate, attendance frequency. Control variables are the variable held constant to prevent them from the influencing the direct variable, ensure the internal validity of the study. Exogenous variable, uncontrolled variable that may affect result, must be identified and addressed through the design of the statistical control. Moderating variable that affect the strength, direction of independent variable and the dependent variable relationship. Example, gender moderating relationship between socioeconomic status and achievement. Mediating variable that explain the mechanism through which independent influences the dependent variable. For example, motivation mediate affect the teaching style on learning outcome. Next is the hypothesis in the quantitative research. A hypothesis is a testable, specific, falsifiable prediction about the relationship between variables stated before data collection. So, null hypothesis state no effect or the relationship what you try to reject. For example, there is no significant difference in the math achievement between student taught using the traditional and inquiring the based method. Alternative hypothesis state that expected affect directional or the non-directional. For example, student taught using the inquiry-based method will score significantly higher in the math than those who taught traditionally. Research hypothesis, a general statement of expected outcome in your study. For example, a positive and a significant relationship exists between parental involvement and the student academic achievement. Next is the data collection methods. Yes, sampling technique in the quantitative result by probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling are the simple random sampling. Every element has an equal chance. Stratified sampling, population divide into stria, sample from each. Cluster sampling, randomly select group cluster from the population. Systematic sampling, select every ninth element from a list. Multi-stage sampling, combination of a method in a stage. Non-probability sampling, convenience sampling, easily acceptable participant, purposes sampling, researchers select based on judgment. Quota sampling ensures specific proportion of the subgroup. Snowball sampling, participant refer other, rare in quantitative research. Uh, Less generalizable and high risk of bias. Sample size determination. Adequate sample size is critical for the statistical power and result reliability. For the small studies 30 plus is the minimum. For the most of the survey, 100 plus is the adequate. For the standard, 384, in which 95% confidence interval and plus minus 5% error. 1000 plus for the large scale national studies. Population size and variability, desired confidence level usually 95% or 99%. Acceptable margin of error usually plus minus 5%. Expected size small, medium, or large. Statistical power typically 80. Number of variable and subgroup analyzed needed. Resource constraint, time, cost, and assess. Data collection method. That quantitative data is collected by using the standard instrument. Common methods include self-administrated questionnaire, paper online form filled by the respondent independently. Face-to-face interview, researcher or the respondent in a meeting. Questionnaire by the mail or the social media distributed via post, email, WhatsApp, or Facebook. Telephonic interview, interview conducted over the phone or the video call. Other methods for the data collection are lab test, investigation, social map, interview guide, project walk, participatory ruler appraisal, and observation checklist. Self-administrated questionnaire, a standardized form completed independently by the respondent without researcher intervention. So the advantages of the self-administrated questionnaire are high response rate, can be used for sensitive privacy question, cost-effective, no interviewer bias, respondent can answer at own pace, can be used anonymously. Disadvantages of self-administrated questionnaire are cannot probe if question misunderstood, low literacy respondent cannot use it, no clarification possible, may be left incomplete, depend on the respondent modification, uh, cannot verify identify of the respondent. Next is the steps to develop a questionnaire. First, we have to define the objective. Write all objective aim of the study clearly. Identify the concept information to collect related to those objectives. And then literature review. Research other studies, publication that explore your topic to get ideas for questionnaire item. Draft item. Write a draft of your questionnaire based on literature review and objective, and then expert review, get a feedback from a contact expert, methodologist, and target population representative. Finalize the questionnaire, revise based on feedback, ensure logical flow, proper formatting, and completeness. And then pilot test administrator to 20 to 25 individual from target population to identify the problem and assess the validity. Next, types of questionnaire. Close-ended questions and open-ended questions. Close-ended questions are those who limit the option of the answer respondent select from the preset choice. Types, dichotomous, multiple choice, rating scale, uh, um, ranking question, visual analog scale. For example, does polio affect the health adversely? Yes or no? Open-ended question in which allow respondent to answer freely without restriction. For example, exploratory research use when answer option are unknown, gathering rich detailed response, quantitative component within the survey. For example, what do you know about the health effect of the polio vaccine? Tips for the good questionnaire: short and simple. One issue at a time. No reading question does not use question that directly respond toward a particular answer. Avoid vague terminology like here, there, near, often, many. No emotional word. Avoid emotionally changed word or stereotype. For example, religious and political label. No yes or no format constantly. Very responsive format. Avoid frequency without limit. For example, how much time do you study? How many hours per day do you study? Underline the keywords, bold or underlining the keyword for clarity. Help respondent focus on what being asked. Next is the statistical analysis, descriptive statistic. Summarize, organize, or describe collected data using the numerical measure of central tendency by mean, which is the average of all score, median, middle of value in order, data mode, most frequently occurring value, measure of dispersion, range, variance, which is the average, square deviation, standard deviation spread around the mean, interquartile range, which is the middle 50% spread, measure of position by percentile, position in the distribution quartile, Q1, Q2, Q3 divided data in the fourth, Z score, standard score, box plot usually represent those measures. Measures of shape by skewness, symmetry of the distribution, kurtosis, bigness of distribution, normal distribution by bell shape, frequency distribution histogram, and team leaf. And next is the inferential statistics used to make the inference about the population based on sample data, the core of the hypothesis testing. The tests that are used are t-test, comparison of the two mean, mean of the two independent group. For example, does male and female student differ in the math score? T-test, pair t-test compare the mean of the same group at the time point, pre-test versus the post-test score of the same student. ANOVA is a comparison of the mean of three or more group achievement across three different schools. Chi-square is the test relationship between the categorical value. For example, is there a relationship between gender and the stream? Pearson correlation is a measure linear relationship between two continuous variable. And the regression analysis is the predict direct variable from one or more independent variable. Next is the validity and reliability. Validity in the quantitative research, the degree to which the test measure what is intended to measure. Content validity, in instrument item adequately represent all the aspect of construct being measured. Construct validity, the instrument actually measure the theoretical construct in claim to measure. Triton validity correlate with the established measure. Internal validity ensure the observed change in the dependent are due to independent variable only threatened by the confounding selection bias, history, effect, and maturation. External validity, generalizability of the result beyond the sample test setting. Statistical validity, correct use of the statistical procedure assumption met. Next is the reliability in a quantitative research. Reliability is the consistency and stability of the measure. The instrument yields same result under the same condition. Retest reliability, same test administered to the same group at two different times. Correlation between two set of the score. Concern is crossover effect R, which is greater than 0.70. Parallel form reliability, two equivalent version of the same test reduce the test retest crossover required extensive test development. Inter-rater reliability, degree of agreement between two or more raters. Kappa coefficient used for the categorical data. Kappa coefficient is greater than 0.60. Internal consistency, most common in the educational research, Cron batch alpha, measure how well item measure same construct. Next is the reporting and research ethics. Reporting the quantitative research result. abstract, brief summary, objective methodology, keyword, conclusion, 150 to 250 words, introduction, background, problem statement, significant, objective, research question, hypothesis. Literature review, theoretical framework, empirical study review, conceptual model, and research gap. Methodology, research design, population sample, instrument, data collection procedure. Result in tables, figure, descriptive stats, inferential tests, hypothesis test outcome. Discussion, interpretation, comparison with the literature in implementation, limitation, further direction, and conclusion. Next is the research ethics in the quantitative research. Ethical research protect the participant, ensure the integrity and reproduce credibility, trustworthy finding. Informed consent, participant must be fully informed about the study purpose, procedure, risk, and benefit. Voluntary participation is non-negotiable. Written consent required for the sensitive population. Confidentiality, data must be kept secure and private. Identification not collected. Confidentiality, identify known but protected. Do not harm non-maleficence. Research must not cause physical, psychological, social, financial harm. Risk-benefit analysis must be conducted before the study commencement. Data integrity and honesty, no fabrication, falsification, or selective report of the data. Full disclosure of the methodology and limitation, proper attribution of the all sources. Next, we come to the MCQs. MCQ number first, which is the main purpose of the quantitative research. A, explore personal experience. B, collect numerical data and test hypotheses. C, develop story for observation. D, understand cultural brief only. E, conduct unconstructed interview.
B.
Yes, B is the right option. MCQ number second, a study measured the prevalence of hypertension among individuals in a Lahore without investigating cause. Which type of quantitative research is this? A, experimental research design. B, quasi-experimental research design. C, correlation research design. D, descriptive research design. E, longitudinal cohort research design.
D.
Yes, D is the right option. MCQ number 3, which research question best satisfy the final criteria of the relevance? A question that is easy to complete quickly. B, a question that requires no ethical review. C, a question that advance knowledge and influence the practice. D, a question that interest only the researcher. E, a question that duplicate previous finding exactly.
C.
Yes, C is the right option. MCQ number 4, in an experiment, the variable is manipulated by the researcher is called A, dependent variable. B, outcome variable. C, independent variable. D, confounding variable. E, control variable. So C is the right option.
C.
Yes,
C.
yes, C is the right option. MCQ number 5, a study show no significant difference between two treatment groups. What decision should the researcher make regarding the null hypothesis? A, accept the alternative hypothesis completely. B, reject the null hypothesis immediately. C, fail to reject the null hypothesis. D, conclude the intervention in the effective. E, ignore the statistical significance entirely.
B.
So C is the right. Yes, C is the right option. Fail to reject the null hypothesis. MCQ number 6, a study evaluate the effect of new curriculum in two existing school classes because a random assignment is not possible. Which result is more likely? Which design is most likely? A, true experimental design. B, correlation design. C, descriptive design. D, quasi-experimental design. E, ecological design.
B.
Yes, D is the right option. MCQ number 7, a blood pressure instrument gives similar reading when used rapidly under the identical condition. Which quality is the demonstrate? A, external validity. C, B, criton validity. C, reliability of the instrument. D, content validity. E, construct validity.
C.
Yes, C is the right option. MCQ number 8, which type of validity refer to ability to generalize the finding of other population? A, internal validity. B, construct validity. C, content validity. D, external validity. E, criton validity.
D.
Yes, D is the right option. MCQ number 9. During the study, adult participants usually improve over time regardless of their intervention. The threat: A. Construct validity. B. Internal validity. C. External validity. D. Content validity. E. Criterion validity. So B
B.
is, yes, B is the right option. MCQ number 10. A public health researcher want finding to applicable to the entire population of the Pakistan. Which aspect should the receive the greatest attention? A. Internal constancy, reliability. B. External validity and representative sampling. C. Pilot testing procedure only. D. Questionnaire formatting technique. E. Open-ended question exclusively.
B.
Yes,
E.
B is the right option. So this is the answer key. This is the YouTube channel where the video will be uploaded. And thank you for your listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rabbia.